Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you two articles that will show you Trump won't get indicted, and if he does, it will be a failed attempt at trying to convict him for something that he didn't do. So, this is NBC News. Trump's legal team was in talks with DOJ this spring over records at Mar-a-Lago, attorney says. He's been in talks with Merrick Garland's team at the Department of Justice since March, April, May, June, and you can't say there was intent to commit a crime. He's a former president who kept documents just like any other president. Everything the president touches, every discussion that he has is a classified discussion, classified letter, classified document. So, if there's a meeting with a foreign diplomat or dignitary or head of state, and Trump writes a note on a napkin, that is classified. Anything the president does is classified. He has the power to declassify anything also, aside from restricted data. And in the case of nuclear discussions or armament, so he had letters from Kim Jong-un, and so they're saying that that's the topic, or that's the potential breaking of the law because he had these letters that the National Archives deems part of national security, and he wasn't allowed to have those letters. Well, that was for a library. He didn't have top secret intelligence on private servers because he was running a foundation based on graft. And I think Hillary is going to be the nominee. I want Hillary Clinton to run, and I want her to become the nominee. We have to redo 2016. We're still living in an alternate universe. After 2016, we entered the Twilight Zone. We have to do away with 2016 once and for all. We need a Hillary Trump 2024, and I also want to see every wonderful, morally superior, liberal Democrat, highly educated, say vote for Hillary again. I just want that. I want to see that take place. But anyway, I think she should run because this is obviously, and we'll get to it in a second, linked to Clinton in some way, just like the Durham probe trial in October with the Steele dossier subsource, worked with the Clinton public relations executive. I mean, you can't make this up. But anyway, archives threatened to go to Congress and Justice Department to get Trump to turn over records, CNN. This is a February 13th, 2022 article. Now, notice, I'll get to the CNN article in a second. By the way, hit subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. We are actually right around 200. We're going to pass 200,000 subscribers very soon. It's because of you. But you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where they tried to accuse him of working with the Kremlin and colluding and interfering, and it didn't happen. He didn't do that. The Mueller probe found nothing. It was a catastrophic failure. It was a gigantic hoax, and the same people who fret and worry and are so concerned about information that's false and deceitful are the ones who spread the most deceitful claims about Trump. Nothing they've ever said about this man is true. Nothing. And so they accused him of colluding. That didn't happen. Then they said his tax returns were the holy grail of criminality and corruption. That didn't happen. New York is slowly ending its probe. Then they said he pressured people in Georgia. That didn't happen. I mean, they're not finding anything there. Then they said he had campaign finance violations with Stormy. That didn't happen. Avenatti's in prison. Then they said he tried to overthrow the government. I mean, you'd have to be a complete imbecile. Like, you'd have to have zero grasp of logic and critical thinking skills to believe that Trump tried to overturn and overthrow democracy. And that didn't work. Even Kinzinger's like, yeah, we lost that fight. And now they're like, what do? We can't defeat this, man. We have mashed potato brains in a recession. Oh, yeah, the National Archives. As if Clinton didn't have top secret and special access program intelligence for 4 years on servers running outside of the United States government. That any person on the planet, any foreign intelligence service, Michael Hayden stated that he would lose respect for foreign intelligence agencies if they didn't obtain all of those emails. So you have a situation where what they're doing, they made a mockery of classified data. Comey stated there was no intent to commit a crime with Clinton. There obviously was. There is definitely intent. That's why you own private servers. But see, there was no intent here. The man had U-Haul boxes. And if you read this article, it talks about how he has letters from Kim Jong-un and it's for his library. And one source familiar with the situation says document turnover has not been fully resolved, and says Trump is still in possession of documents the archives wants. The National Archives isn't an intel agency. Clinton had classified data from intel agencies. So, former President Donald Trump's representatives have informed the National Archives they are continuing to search for additional presidential records that belong to the National Archives. Okay, you didn't do this to any other president. He was the president of the United States of America, leaving with boxes. Okay, big deal. Oh my God, who cares? Yeah, well, this is going to be if they actually indict him on this, and I'm like, there is a possibility they can indict him because they are desperate. They know that mashed potato brains is an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. And in many ways, I don't want to be mean, but to the country. I mean, it's unfortunate. I feel bad saying that, actually. But we have a recession. Real wages are down. I mean, they're jumping for joy because inflation is now 8.5% as opposed to 9.1%. Inflation will go back up. The Inflation Reduction Act will ensure that inflation goes back up. Let's put it that way. And everything they touch, everything they do doesn't work. Europe, the geopolitical nightmare in Europe. And you have all of these problems. And they don't even want him to run again. But here, at one point, the National Archives notified a member of Trump's team that it planned to alert Congress and the Department of Justice if the matter wasn't quickly resolved. It's like, okay. Well, now, I mean, he was in contact with the DOJ shortly after. And it's one person at National Archives that needs this information. It's like, all right, was this, did the National Archives call Secretary of State Clinton? Or maybe, okay, if it's only for presidents, did the National Archives ever ask about President Obama's emails with Clinton from her private server, which Politico reported? I wrote a Daily Mail article on that. Cheryl Mills stated, oh yeah, the president knows. President Obama knew because he emailed his Secretary of State. Wow, how shocking that a president would email his Secretary of State. Of course he did. Of course he knew. Then he says he didn't know. We only knew from CNN. Where's the fact check? Where's the Washington Post? 5 Pinocchios. You'll never get that. You can't prove President Obama didn't know and only knew from CNN. You can't prove that Clinton only used servers for convenience. That's how, see, when you lack suspicion and you only have suspicion towards Trump, you have only gullible people to the left of center or who vote Democrat. Only the most impressionable, gullible. Really? The Secretary of State Clinton only used private servers for convenience? And even President Obama didn't know? Even though they emailed each other? And the foundation was making hundreds of millions? And Uranium One, they were getting money from that company that was eventually owned by the Putins? You can't prove anything. Nothing was ever proven. But Trump has boxes from U-Haul. And he went to Staples and he went to Office Depot. and there's a letter. He got a letter. Indict! Imprison him! So, but Clinton, top secret intel, servers. Go right now. Go to Microsoft. I'm joking, but if you work at Microsoft or Tesla or anywhere, IBM, any government agency, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to install these private servers. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if you were a Microsoft employee or an employee for any government agency, and you come to work one day with a bunch of wires and computer servers? You're like, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to siphon everything on this server. Yeah, it's for convenience. What do you think they would do to you? You would be fired immediately. You wouldn't even allow that. There's like corporate espionage. They want to get Trump under, the criminal statutes for that. But they wouldn't even allow that in corporate America. You wouldn't even get away with that, even if you were, like if you ran a McDonald's and you wanted your own personal servers there. Eventually, the corporate headquarters would say, what are you doing? It's a franchise, but what are you doing? What? You can't have that. You can't have that at the franchise. So they would never allow that. But with Trump, they're desperate. They don't know, like, what's the next thing? His haircut? He's too orange? What? He eats too many cheeseburgers? What are they going to get him on next? They can't get the man on anything. They can't get him on anything. They're so desperate. Oh my God, they want to get him. But see, the thing is, you could look at any of the emails that the New York Post published about Hunter. Criminality, like obvious. You'd have to be stupid not to even understand. There's a criminal behavior right there. And then the Clinton email server fiasco with top secret intel that was almost certainly hacked by the entire planet, according to Comey. So anyway, there was no intent to commit a crime. He's a former president. There's the precedent was set by James Comey. Okay? So good luck trying to get Trump on a precedent where Comey says, gosh, there was no intent. Even though there was obvious intent. You're owning private servers to hide your communication. I want a Hillary Trump 2024. I want to do it all over again. Because I was apparently the spawn of Satan because I said, you know what, Clinton will lose to Trump, and I wasn't going to vote for Clinton. I was just, I wasn't going to vote for a hawkish militant foreign policy, which is what you get from Democrats. The anti-war candidate has always been Trump. So that's obvious. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. If you want to become a member, please do. And by the way, the FBI did something good, very good. They confirmed through forensic testing, check the segment prior to this one, that Alec Baldwin did indeed not only pull the hammer, but also the trigger of the Colt 45. Gee, we knew this last year, but that's okay. You have to give them credit for the forensic testing. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. I'll be back in a couple of hours, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a very important segment because he's already been in talks with Merrick Garland. Where's the criminality here? I don't understand. They made a mockery of classified data, and this is a president leaving the Oval Office. It's like you can't win with these people. They were like writing articles. What if he doesn't leave? What if he doesn't leave? Then he left. Then they are upset that he left with boxes. I left with boxes with letters. Oh, big deal. Any letter that the president owns is classified. And then he goes through a process of declassification. And if he didn't go through the exact process, you can't say it's a national security issue because let's assume it was restricted data. He almost certainly had his energy secretary if it was regarding nuclear issues. He almost certainly had his energy secretary declassify the information, and there was no intent to do anything. He wasn't selling these documents. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now.